Hello and welcome back to today's video. So today we're going to be talking about something that's popular, and it's WordPress. We need to do a few things to get started, but I wanted to dive deep into building out a WordPress site. We're going to do this locally, so we're going to bring our own database in and create our own PHP, which stands for Hypertext Preprocessor. And we're going to build a database and fire up some WordPress and get some stuff started. So without further ado, let's get started. One thing we need to do, let's go to the internet. I have Firefox. I like to use Firefox. So let's get Firefox started up. And we are going to download our first application called, so I'm going to do old school version first. So let's go ahead and look for XAMPP. So we're going to look for XAMPP, and we need to download XAMPP. So XAMPP installs and download for Apache. This is where we're going to go. And since we're going to be doing this on Windows, you can do it for Linux too and OS X. I might build these videos later. But for today, we're going to be working with XAMPP for Windows. So I'm going to go ahead and download it here. And it should start automatically right there. If it doesn't, we'll click here. So we're looking to see if it started. Okay, there it is. So it's going to take about a minute to run through, and then we're going to go ahead and get started. So what is XAMPP? So XAMPP is basically like a popular PHP development environment, and it's completely free, and you can use it to install Apache distribution like Maria database, PHP, Perl, and all that good stuff. Just in case you guys are wondering what it is. Alright, so let's minimize this. We'll come back later, and we're going to get started on the install. So where did our XAMPP go? I think it's starting up. Alright, so something you need to be aware of, because it's UAC is on, we might restrict it, so please avoid it, blah blah blah. So we need to deactivate UAC after this. So we can do this before or after, because it's saying important USA yada yada yada. Some functions are actually restricted, and when you disable UAC, you have to do a restart. So let's go ahead and take care of that real quick. Alright, so we're going to do this through PowerShell, and this should be the command right here. I'll drop it down also in the comments, but this should be able to help you to disable UAC. I'm gonna go ahead and hit enter, and there you go, trigger no issues. But normally with UAC, like I said, it probably prompt you to restart. So I'm gonna go ahead and click this to disable that, and then I'm gonna go ahead and try to find XAMPP again and see if it triggers it. So downloads. Okay, here comes the welcome part. Okay, so yeah, so we need to restart real quick. And before we get started, there's another way you can disable UAC. Just want you to know you can type in UAC, and you can go to here, and then it should say never. So the script that I put in did work. This needs to say never notify, and then you click OK. But now we also need to do the restart. So we're gonna restart and we'll be right back. Okay, so we're back with the restart. So once you start at XAMPP, you just want to go ahead and click next here, and everything that's here checked on the left side should be fine. I'm just go ahead and click next, and then earlier it was asking you to not install it here, so you can choose to install this elsewhere. So right here, I will change this to the F drive because that's where I want to install everything on a separate drive. Next, select your language, and then go next, and then you are ready to install. So just click next, and just let it run through. All right, once it's finished, just go ahead, click finish. Should open up the control panel since you had it checked. And here we're going to take a look at the control panel real quick. So this is what it looks like, and you will see that you have Apache, MySQL, and then a few other things here that was started. So, well, that was installed. So what you want to do, you want to start Apache right here. It needs to be running. And then also you want to go ahead and start MySQL, which is the database as well that you're going to need. So these are two things that needs to be running. Okay, so those are what you actually want to see. Now, how do we check to see if XAMPP control panel is installed properly? Well, just open up a browser and you're just going to type in localhost. So if you do localhost, it should resolve itself right here. And there you go. So you should see welcome to XAMPP for Windows and so forth. So that means the installation was successful, and you have it locally installed. Alright, so the next step for us to get going is that we need to go ahead and get WordPress. Sorry. So if you Google WordPress, you will see multiple different places, right? Be careful though, because WordPress.com is not the same site as WordPress.org. So if you take a look and you click on the wrong one, you will see this. This is WordPress.com. I don't really know who owns this site. Don't know if it belongs to the same folks, but this is not the site you want to be on. So just be careful. Check the top to make sure it's not WordPress.com. You want to actually go to where it says WordPress.org. Right there. Okay, it is a free source, free open source download, so you shouldn't have to pay anything. So over here where they're asking you to like have to log in and all that stuff and price and planning, no. See, this is all paid stuff. WordPress is always free, or is always free from what I'm tracking. So once you get here and navigate to just get WordPress, it will take you to the latest version. As of this video, we're in 6.6, so you're just going to go ahead and download WordPress. You don't even have to log in or anything, and there's an installation guide right there. Just go ahead and download, and it's going to show you how to yada yada yada, and 6.6.1 is the latest version that's being downloaded. Alright, so once it is done downloading, you want to go ahead and find it. So inside of your downloads folder, or wherever you had it downloaded, you should see WordPress. We're going to go ahead and extract it. You just need to have an extractor. I like to use either WinRAR or 7-zip, and just extract it to a folder. Shouldn't take that long. Okay, so once it's extracted, it will be right here. Now I want you to go ahead and open up a new window, and we're going to now look for where we installed XAMPP earlier. So if you remember earlier, I did mine on the F drive, and it's right in here. Okay, so you're looking for a folder called htdocs right here, and you want to open up this folder. And then what we're going to do now is you're going to copy the contents of this folder right here. So when you go in here, you should see WordPress. Now you just want to copy this folder right here and put it in here. And then once this is copied over, we're going to rename it. Okay, and then now let's rename this folder. We're going to call it LabWorks, like that. Remember your name. And then once you have that, now what you could do, since you're in here, you want to go ahead and navigate. So back on your screen, when you went to XAMPP right here and you did localhost, and you were able to get to the XAMPP. Now all you need to do is point to the new folder that you just installed. So if you remember, I told you that I just renamed mine LabWorks. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. So under localhost, you're going to type in LabWorks. That was the name that I just gave it. And it's going to do its DNS thinking. There you go. So that means WordPress is actually now installed default. You can see localhost, and then LabWorks is right there. And this is the back end of how you get into WordPress. And now, once we are here, choose English if you want to go with English or the language that you speak. And then you're going to click next. And then once you click next, you can go ahead and click let's go right here. And then now at this point, it's going to ask you for a database and the subfields. Alright, so with the database piece, you need to build out a database. So once we get here, you can just pause real quick, open up another window, and we're going to go back to localhost, where we were earlier. So you just need to go to localhost right there. And on a localhost, you should look up and you should see PHP MyAdmin. That was the database builder that we installed earlier. So now you're inside of your database and you are here. What you want to do now, you want to go up to the top and find databases and let that load real quick. And then you just create a new database. So for here, we can call this LabWorks. It doesn't matter. And then we're just going to click create. And once you create this database, now it should show up over here on this side. So now you can see, if you click here, you'll see the database itself that it shows up. So then inside of this database, there's nothing here. It's a blank database, right? But we know we have a database called LabWorks. So now go back over to here, and we're going to do right here LabWorks, which is the database we just gave it. And then the username should just be root, because we're on the deep down bottom of the WordPress. So just name it root. Don't worry about a password for now, because we can set that later. Localhost, and this should be fine. And then from here, you want to go ahead and click submit. Okay, so once you get this right, you should see, all right, Sparky, you've made it through the installation process, and then WordPress now can communicate with your database. Perfect. So now when you run the installation, WordPress is going to go ahead and do the installation for you. So just go ahead and click run the installation. And what this is going to do is going to communicate now with the database that we had earlier. If you refresh this now and go in, you should see now there's more stuff in here. Once it's created, more stuff will pop up in the side of the database, and it's going to be built out. After you answer all of these questions and go through, then the site will be built out. Okay, so let's go ahead and do it. So what is going to be the site name? Well, we can call it the title. We'll just call this Lab Master Productions. Sounds good to me. Then the username, we want to call this Lab Master, which is fine. And then this password, if you can remember this is good. This is a really long password, but it's fine since they gave it to me. Why not? Let's just use it. So let's go ahead and open up a new text document. We're gonna call this stuff, and then in here, this password, since we're gonna need to remember this later, let's copy this, go into stuff, paste this here so that we can know the password when we need it again. So we'll keep that password, and then email address, just call it info at labworks.com, right? And then you can do, when you're building this out, you can disable search engine from indexing, but that's on the back end later if you choose to. And if everything is good to go here, all you need to do now is click install WordPress. And we're just gonna let this run. Okay, perfect. So it didn't take that much. WordPress has been installed. Thank you. Enjoy. Username LabMaster, and then the password is what we chose earlier. So we should be good to go. So now we can go ahead and click login. And then now the username, remember we had the username was LabMaster. So that's going to be the username, and then the password is going to be the password we had earlier. I'll click remember me, and we're just going to log in. And once this let us in, it's just going to authenticate a little bit, and you should be in the back end of WordPress dashboard. And here you are. So Viola, or how you guys say it, Yalla. But you get what I'm trying to say. So welcome to WordPress. This is what WordPress looks like in the back end of any sites that you design. It's a simple build from the back, from the front to the back. Just need to have a database to host everything, and then from here you can start building out pretty much your website environment. There's more to this once you start building, just doing the theme and all that stuff, but I'm going to save that for another video. But this is just the installation piece of it. And then we can check out our database too. Let's see how our database looks now that it was installed. Did it grow? Okay, so there you go. It did grow. LabWorks grew. We have different tables that were created. Now we have some data that's also inside of LabWorks. Right, so as you can see, we took an empty database, built it out, and now we have a lot of stuff in the back. And then when we just go to the front end, here we go. We have a fully functional, well, it's not functional yet, but we have our site up and running. And then an easy way to see the site, you can just go ahead and click on opening a new tab, and you can actually look at this while it's being built. This will be a generic theme. There you go. LabMaster Productions, and this is just the theme that came with it. So as you can see, now this is the front end of what your customers will see once your site is up and running. And then all you have to do now is work on the back end right here and build it out as needed. The next video we're going to cover a lot of installing themes, we're doing plugins, building out users and so forth. And we're going to dive deep into building out pretty much the entire structure for you. Keep this video short though. I wanted to just thank you guys so much for watching, and this is a great way of just installing WordPress and then building out from there. A good thing though, you can actually build your sites at home on your server before you go live. You don't necessarily have to do a build on a host. You can do this with and pretty much have it ready, and then we'll talk about how we can export your sites later. Once you have it built, we'll export your sites on all your database and put it onto your new sites when you're ready to go live. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. Really appreciate it, and I'll see you guys in the next one.